step right up and behold one of the unexplained mysteries of the universe.
On the Red Carpet presents a special look at Nightmare Alley.
Nightmare Alley is one of the great American novels. It is the flip side of the American dream. It's a nightmare. It chronicles the sudden rise and terrible fall of Bradley Cooper as Stan.
I'd love to learn anything that you'd want to teach me.
I understand if you don't want to give away your secrets.
Guillermo and Kim Morgan have written a really unusual take on the story that's gone down a different rabbit hole.
It's kind of an epic journey.
If Shape of Water was about love, Nightmare Alley is about loathing, greed, it's about betrayal. You're a small man. It's about all of those dark underpinnings to what seems to be a very polite society.
Guillermo and Kim wrote something that really is of the time, and that helps take you into that world. You know, the way people talk, the way people think.
I got a little job for you. It's a temporary job.
He beautifully mixes genres. That's what I like about his work. This one has horrific elements in it, but it's really a dark drama with very colorful worlds being explored.
You familiar with those cards? And tarot, very powerful stuff. You know, maybe Zeena will read your fortune if you're lucky.
Nightmare Alley exists in two quite distinct worlds. The world of a carnival, which we understand is full of trickery and deceit, but actually really has a beating heart, like a community in it. And then polite society that seems to be sort of functional and everyone knows their place, but the darkness is actually far more threatening and terrifying.
This is a palpable world, as a smell, and as a taste. It's so far from our experience today. Everybody's had some trouble, some shadow from their past.
It's a world populated by fantastic characters that we are rendering with incredible attention to detail.
I'll give you the 5, plus a nice hot meal when we get there. The first half takes place in this working class, hardscrabble, get ahead, try to survive carnival world. Entertainers and scam artists and tarot readers.
So maybe you can hawk for me, you know, work the audience. We got a little mind reading show. There's a woman worried about her mother.
That's me.
Abigail? Is that your name, dear?
Once Stan takes his lessons from that place, steals some secrets and some tricks, he takes it to another level and enters this world of very wealthy people that will pay a lot of money to explore these things.
What is your name?
Stanton Carlisle.
Are you a true medium?
Yes, I am.
Well, we've had our share of snake charmers in the past. We deal with them.
Once he moves on, it becomes a bit more polished and greedier, actually. The more that's available, the more he wants.
We were able to use Bradley Cooper as a cornerstone, not only for the casting, for the entire endeavor. He really deep dived into the period. He was fully committed.
All these actors, that is the reason I wanted to do the movie initially, and the fact that I was lucky enough to play the guy that walks through the whole movie. And I just felt like, how am I even here watching these people do this stuff?
I built it to honor her. The paths and the benches, you see, she would have loved it.
She does. I can sense it.
What Bradley brings, he has all the goodness and physical beauty and innate grace to show what could be. He brings the skill of one of the most superb actors of his generation to create a character of deep, deep darkness.
I know you're no good, and I know that because neither am I.
Everything will be carefully presented to make him look as powerful as a presence would in classic cinema.
The problem with Stanton Carlisle is that he's not meant to fit in, and so havoc ensues.
He's unstable, unpredictable. Dealings with Grindle have consequences, permanent ones.
This tale would only work if these great characters are interpreted by great actors. And I think we have one of the greatest casts ever assembled.
You don't fool people, Stan. They fool themselves.
All my heroes are in this movie. Bradley Cooper, Toni Collette, Willem Dafoe, Cate Blanchett, Rooney Mara, David Strathairn, Richard Jenkins.
You're not as hard to read as you think, lady.
For me, films are a symphony, and each actor is a precise instrument.
Did you see the same show that I did? That crowd was on its feet. When's the last time that happened? I mean, we give them mentalism and they treat it like it's a dog walking on its hind legs, but that was different. We should need that in the show.
When we started writing the movie for Bradley, he brought the desire to commit to realism, the physicality of what it was to be on the road at the end of the 30s. And that will inform how you stand, how you smoke.
There are a lot of firsts for me in this movie. I don't think I've ever been so vulnerable on a movie as an actor. And, you know, I think that's really because of the level of the cast. I don't think I would have been able to do this movie if I hadn't had those incredible actors.
Folks here, they don't make no never mind who you are or what you've done.
My character only exists in the carnival world.
Would a steady job be of interest to you, young buck?
He's responsible for all the people in that family. Even the Bradley character, when he comes, he takes him in, even though he recognizes there's something not right about this guy.
You got a tub?
Certainly do.
Just arrived last night, so I thought.
Of course you did.
Toni's electric. I mean, she's just amazing.
I think Zeena surprises herself. She's in this long-term relationship with lovely Pete. And then this guy comes along and really surprises her. She doesn't really think much of him, and he just slowly works his way into her world, and she falls for it.
Oh, you're trouble, ain't you, Pop?
No, ma'am.
Oh, yes,
I'm
you are.
absolutely no trouble
at all.
yes,
you are. You're a maybe. And maybes, they're real bad for me.
Pete forever wanted to be a magician. He's sort of a device for Bradley's character.
What can you tell me?
Wristwatch, leather band, brass, not gold. Old, worn down. But it's full of meaning that he presents to Stan the dangers involved, what you might encounter if you decide to go down this road. When a man believes his own lies, starts believing that he has the power, people get hurt.
Bruno is what Bruno is. He's the strong man in the carnival. He's one of the elder members of the carnival.
We got a storm coming through. I got to load out fast. I'm short a few guys. It's hard work. You get $1, you move on. No mooching around. Savvy?
He's a true patriarchal figure for Molly, who's played by Rooney Mara. She's probably as pure as you can be in this world. She inherited the world. You know, she didn't choose it. It chose her.
What about me?
I know that you like chocolates, and you like to read.
And dancing?
When's the last time you did?
A while.
Yeah?
She's kind of the most gullible and the sweetest. Even though she seems like she doesn't know herself, there are moments where she really does.
Me and Bradley and Guillermo got to spend a nice amount of time before we ever even started shooting, just like, you know, sitting, talking for hours. Bradley and Guillermo's dynamic was really very unique and special, and it was really cool to like step into their world every day.
Good. I think that it's important for Molly to leave that family behind and go with Stan towards the future.
You ready?
Ready for what?
The world and everything in it, Rabbit. Doctor.
Mr. Carlisle, lay down, please.
Why don't we just start with sitting?
I played Dr. Lilith Ritter, who's a consulting psychologist. Never. That word again. We're going to work on that.
Cate Blanchett. We are going to present her as one of the grand dames of that period of cinema.
What was really fascinating about the process of playing Lilith is that every day we discover a new, deep, dark secret. There's a lot of darkness there and a lot of damage to what seems to be a quite pristine exterior. The thing you need to know is, if you displease the right people, the world closes in on you very, very fast.
The man Kimball wants to introduce you to is Ezra Grindle.
He's got a lot of money, but he's not a happy man. His life has been haunted by an incident that happened, a young girl who he was madly in love with.
Richard, as an actor, you're commanding a high-powered weapon.
I know what I'm going to do if this goes on much longer.
This is a group of actors who are expert in what they do. He's put together a group of people who can express the eccentricities of this world. People are desperate to tell you who they are, desperate to be seen. Cut, beautiful printing now.
Let the mirror show you who you are and who you shall be.
Guillermo's films always have an otherworldly quality to them.
Where did it come from? Witness this supreme oddity.
He's a true auteur, an absolute artist, and he just listens to his gut, and it's totally inspirational.
You drew me?
Yeah, I draw what's on my mind. Guillermo just creates this world, and all I had to really do was stay open and trust.
It was very interesting to me to show a carnival where you can have freaks and exotic dancers and fire eaters and all these characters that seem to be on the fringes of society, but they are more compelling to me and more human in many ways than the people handling the high finance in the big city.
I've given you a fortune. Now it's time that you delivered.
Every frame that I dare look at blows my mind. Every frame is like a painting. I just cannot wait to watch this movie. It's so exquisite, it's so rich and so saturated.
We have been in the hunt for a real carnival props from the 30s, a real merry-go-round, a real Ferris wheel. We have slowly assembled a great amount of research for it, and we're gonna basically build a real carnival in a real place.
All right, fellas! On the count of three. Ready?
The carnival was built outside of Toronto. They just built it. And it was so beautiful with the extras and period costumes, you know. It wasn't cut up into little areas. It was complete.
Don't look at anybody else's. Miss Molly, you have a question for us?
Yeah.
Oh, well, you're not going to get an answer then.
I've always liked to start from a point of reality because there's so much richness already there.
We're doing a contemporary version of that, a Guillermo Del Toro version of that, which has its own kind of visual range. So it's sort of an extensive build on location. It's a huge set. We built a lot.
Hurry, hurry! Step right up and get a prize!
From the beginning, we did the tests on how much we wanted to go sort of magical with the lights in the carnival. We didn't want to do it stylized. We didn't want it to look like a decision.
I always think, you know, there's bodies in them walls. And a Guillermo Del Toro film, there probably usually is.
You're in luck because tonight we're going to feed them one last time.
This carnival is funky. So it's got color and it's got, you know, all of this attractiveness to it, like cotton candy. But it has a character of its own. It's got decay and eeriness and, you know, if the walls could talk, kind of like, ooh, man, there's some dark stuff took place here.
The cohesion between the sets and the costumes were forged quite early. Guillermo wanted very few costume changes, so each character would have a very specific, iconic look that we would work through the film.
When you look at the costumes, I mean, the detail, there's no need to suspend disbelief when you walk on set because it's all there.
It was exciting to design clothing that felt like people have owned these garments for years.
I think because I understand what this character is, I have an idea of of what kind of music this movie wants.
Nathan Johnson had a conversation with me on a breakfast over pancakes and eggs. And then he said, I think Stan should be 3 or 4 simple notes with one of them dissonant, with a note next to it that is the completely wrong note. So everything that seems simple all of a sudden is off kilter.
My idea was we start with this lone character with one note. We have one note that is Stan. It's a single piano note, and it's the first thing we hear in the movie.
A kind of theatricality, a kind of color, a kind of music. You know, it's not muted, it's very strong and brash. It'll definitely have his stamp on it.
You asked me to purge my soul from sin?
That's right.
I haven't done that. I've done things that I've never told anyone about.
And you're gonna tell her now.
No, I can't.
Close your eyes.
I can't.
It's very Guillermo. That's how I would describe it. I don't think anybody else has his aesthetic, his take on things. I mean, that's what makes him a great director.
I want this to be the modern equivalent of the movies that people complain they don't do anymore. I'm not rendering a classic in classical way. I'm rendering a classic tale in a very alive and modern way. But we're going to try to bring the same craftsmanship and attention to detail that classic cinema has always brought.
This one was for the love of the game, period. And it's nice to be a part of a group where everybody's so clearly doing it for the love of the game.
It just has that feeling of the Hollywood masters.
You seek solace? I believe we can provide that for you.
Ultimately, this is a story about light and dark and good and evil. He has kind of a choice to make, and he can't escape it or overcome it.
It just doesn't resemble anything you've ever seen before. There's something about Guillermo's ability to visually unearth monstrosities that make this an amazing addition to his body of work.
Folks will pay good money just to make themselves feel better.
What happens if I fail?
One thing at a time.
It will allow people to be told a wonderful story, but then I think they'll be left with a lot of unpalatable feelings about themselves and the world in which they live.
What do I want?
To be found out, same as everybody else. Think out things that most people want, hit them where they live. Health, wealth, love.
Find out what they're afraid of and sell it back to them.
As long as you don't oversell it.
I think it's a very pertinent tale for today in our world. The ascension of a hollow person to the higher ranks of society.
When does it end? I want to know.
Sometimes you don't see the line until you cross it. I crossed it. I know that now.
The film in itself is quite circular. A man running as fast as he can away from his fate and ending up realizing that fate.
The higher the stakes, it just gets slipperier and uglier.
Molly, you okay?
I was very much interested in a tale about destiny and a tale about humanity, about a character that could change his life. He has all the elements to change his life. He has people that believe in him, people that love him, people that trust him, and yet his drive, his own hubris is so strong that it becomes destiny.
No matter where you turn.
No man can outrun God, Stan.
Nightmare Alley, it's a dark night of the soul, driven at its center by Stan's unrelenting desire to get to the top at whatever cost.
If you displease the right people, the world closes in on you very, very fast.
These things lead to unspeakable consequences.
There's always surprises.
She's there.
When an audience is intrigued and entrapped in a beautiful tale of ascension, then the great fear is the fall. And when it happens, is emotionally very, very strong.
Step right up and behold one of the unexplained mysteries of the universe. Is he man or beast?
So what do you say? Think you can handle it? Mister, I was born for it.